Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to AI, Investigating Inner Strength Coaching with Pat Boone, the show where thought-provoking questions take center stage. I'm your host, Pat Boone, and with this podcast, we turn the spotlight in a unique direction. It's not about the guests, it's about the questions themselves and who's asking them. In each episode, we dive deep into the world of cultivating inner strengths. And guiding us through this journey is none other than our trusty companion, the master of inquiries, ChatGPT. So dear listeners, get ready for an enlightening exploration of the questions that spark curiosity, ignite introspection, and unveil the profound. Welcome to AI with your host, Pat Boone, and our inquisitive partner, ChatGPT. In today's episode, we explore the multifaceted world of Christian manhood. Pat shares his personal faith journey, and we discuss challenges faced by Christian men today and discover how prayer, Bible study, and resilience play vital roles in their spiritual growth.
Thank you, Pat, for the opportunity to chat with you today. I hope our listeners find this interview insightful and entertaining. Let's dive in, shall we? How does Christian faith play a role in the development of inner strengths in these specific roles, and why is it crucial to your coaching philosophy?
Well, I wish I had an out-of-this-world testimony that I could wow my listeners with, but the truth is I've believed in God as long as I can remember, and my wife and kids, I'm sure, are tired of it, but everything comes back to my Christian worldview. Something will happen and I'll inevitably say, this is just like that story in the Bible or, this reminds me of something that God might do, or something along those lines, and everything seems to come back to my Christian worldview. That said, I do respect others' beliefs. It's not my job to force my beliefs down anybody's throat. And I coach people who do not share my worldview. So that isn't something that holds me back, and nor should hold clients back or potential clients who want to work with me just because, I may have a different set of beliefs than them. In terms of my actual coaching practice and philosophy, I would say there's a respect for people and an enthusiasm for seeing what God is doing in their lives or what God has in store for our relationship. So often in my life, I've sat back and I've watched how God has worked in me and in people around me, and it just makes me smile. It's so cool to see some things that have happened in my family and my friends' lives, and cool to see how what I believe to be God working in their lives. And I also think there's a power that comes from maintaining that connection with the creator of the universe. I mean, how could there not be a power? If you're connected to the person that created humanity, who loves you and wants you to grow and learn, you're gonna be shown a thing or two about what makes the world go around. So, just I believe it's that inner power. I think that comes, and the excitement related to seeing what God is doing in other people's lives and in my life.
What inspired you to specialize in coaching men in these roles, and what personal experiences shaped your mission to empower them?
I've been a certified coach for about 7 years now, which technically means nothing until you discover, why you're certified, why you're here, why you have those skills. And I believe I was shown this a few years ago. My wife and I were at a friend's place, and their daughter, who had a baby, was living with them at the time, and her boyfriend, they were having they weren't getting along, so they were living separately. So she was living at my friend's place with her baby, but he had come to help tuck his daughter in, and so we were just visiting and so forth, and they were tucking their daughters in and daughter in and having fun and so forth. And when it came time to leave, he went over to the door, and I had full view of the door. He went over to the door, put his shoes on, said his goodbyes, opened the door, and just kind of glanced back. And you could see in his face that he did not want to leave. And he had this lost look on his face, and it's just a look of pain. He didn't know what to do. He's almost confused, and tears formed in my eyes, and I thought, oh my, I was fortunate enough to be able to give my sons, I believe, a good start in life and some opportunities and some coaching and training and education, and I realized that not every child has that, and that was an example that I saw, and I right then and there I thought I need to re-engage with my coaching and help men, and my coaching practice focuses on cultivating the inner strengths of men, husbands, fathers, and providers. I also coached hockey, youth hockey, for about 10 years, and I love making connections with the hockey players. Like, there's some great memories, deep conversations even that I was able to have with some of the, especially when the kids get a little bit older in high school and so forth. You had some pretty good conversations there, and you can see that you challenge them a little bit by what you said or how you did something, and they just kind of give you that look out of the corner of their eye sort of deal, and half a smile, and there's some really cool things that happen in coaching, and it was neat to build those connections, and it was a really big thing for me to hold those lives in my hands, even for a short while. It's a huge responsibility, and it was one that I took seriously, and thanked parents for trusting me to do that. And of course, in the workplace, my favorite part of the various jobs that I've held, especially in leadership, was making those deep connections with my coworkers. Particularly as a manager, I really looked forward to performance review time. Most people don't, most managers don't, but I loved having those conversations. It was a great time to chat and get into some deep conversation and to learn about who those people were that I was working with and what they wanted and how I could help them get there. So I think those are kind of the main experiences that shaped my mission and my reason for empowering men.
From your perspective, what are some common challenges that Christian husbands, fathers, and providers face today? And how can inner strength coaching help them overcome these challenges?
I'd say the biggest challenge in today's world is disconnection. They're just disconnected from God, and I've experienced that as well. You're pulled in every direction, but towards God. For me, it came down to putting some tools and reminders in my path to get reconnected daily. Maybe it was a daily Bible verse that would show up on my phone at a certain time of day and make me stop and read it. Maybe even say a little prayer. Listening to sermons on YouTube. Listening to the audio Bible. Maybe when you're going out for a walk, you're not sitting down and reading the Bible and studying it, but you're listening to the audio Bible. So you're still trying to have that connection, build that connection, and learn about God in various ways. And I think God honors that as well. Because really, at the end of the day, it's God that builds that solid connection with Him. I mean, He uses those little reminders that I've set up, my 10% effort. He uses those, and He draws me to Him through those things and through life circumstances. I mean, our job is to just respond to Him, and His prodding and His calling is just respond to Him and do the best that we can do with the faith and with the knowledge that we have. Another challenge are conflicting messages from preachers, different to-do lists, different focuses, some even claiming to be Christian but preaching a totally false doctrine. And I find the key to overcome these messages is to know the Bible. Get several versions, study, cross-reference, look at the original languages, Greek and Hebrew, and seek advice from trusted sources. And it all starts with Christ. I mean, what He has done for us, and then it works out from there. So if you focus on Christ, focus what He did on the cross. He was our penalty for our sin. Belief in that, belief that He raised from the dead, and it starts from there.
Could you define inner strength within the context of your coaching, and how does it align with Christian values?
Well, I've mentioned in the past that I've worked with the VIA Institute, Values in Action, and they focus on inner strength or character strengths. And their definition of inner strength represents an inner reservoir of positive qualities, virtues that individuals can tap into and lead a fulfilling and purposeful life. And there are so many ties between character strengths and Bible-based values. The one that forms the foundation of my coaching actually comes from Romans 5:3-4. Suffering produces perseverance, perseverance character, and character hope. And it happens to be that perseverance and hope are both character strengths that can be improved upon with practice. And just notice, just from that verse, that the way that happens is through suffering. Which is something to think about as whatever you're going through in life. That is there for a reason. That suffering is there for a reason to build on perseverance and hope in God. To be quite honest, the Bible talks about every one of those 24 character strengths: the creativity, zest, perseverance, open-mindedness, love of learning, perspective, bravery, love, kindness, teamwork. All 24 of those character strengths are in the Bible in some way. So not only is the inner strength coaching based in science, it is also based in my personal beliefs and in my biblical beliefs. So it is fully aligned with how I view life. It's a good balance between science and belief.
Balancing family, work, and faith can be daunting. How do you help your clients strike a balance while nurturing their inner strengths?
Striking a balance isn't easy, but the beauty of inner strengths is that they cover all aspects of life: relationships, family, career, business, personal growth, which makes it easier to coach my clients, because no matter what area of their life that they want to improve, there will be corresponding strengths to consider and improve upon. So do you want to improve your marriage? Maybe we look at love, kindness, forgiveness, teamwork, all character strengths that are very important for marriage. Maybe you want to be a better parent, so curiosity, be more curious about your kids, about who they are and how they need to grow. Perseverance, they're going to challenge you with their behavior. Prudence, spirituality, all good strengths to focus on for being a better parent. Maybe you want to focus on your career, so creativity, love of learning, perspective, social intelligence, great strengths to focus on for your career. Or maybe you want to grow or build a business. Bravery, self-regulation, zest, that passion, that excitement for whatever it is that you're doing. Fairness, humor even. There's been lots of studies around using humor and building relationships and using that in your business. So all sorts of different ways to focus on inner strengths and improve the different areas of your life. And I could probably shift the each area of your life with the different inner strengths and be just as effective. It really depends on where you're struggling, what the issues are, who's involved. As I've mentioned in the past, Sun Tzu, know yourself and your enemy, whatever your enemy is, wherever you're struggling. Know yourself and your enemy, and you need not feel the outcomes of 100 battles.
Self-care is often overlooked by many men. How do you emphasize the importance of self-care in your coaching, especially in the context of Christian values?
Well, I remind my clients that the Bible is full of examples of men taking care of themselves physically, mentally, and spiritually. You go to the book of, I believe it's in the book of Daniel, and Daniel is being challenged by the leaders who just grabbed him from their own country, and he said, "I don't want to eat your food." It was against their beliefs, their Jewish beliefs, their religion, and he said, "Test us. 10 days we'll eat nothing but vegetables, and come back to us and see how we make out." And he was very healthy, very good color, and strong and sturdy. So eating vegetables, eating that good food. Solomon talked about avoiding alcohol and taking care to eat at the proper time. God led Elijah into the forest to rest for days. Christ slept on the boat and prayed for hours alone. David talked about God granting sleep to those he loves, so sleep is important. Christ talked about not worrying and relying on him, because God knows that we need food and shelter and clothing. God knows we need those things, so don't worry about those things. We just need to focus on God, focus on Christ. And at the end of the day, we're told that our body is a temple, that we need to take care of it. So we need to remember, as men, we need to remember that self-care is extremely important. If we don't take care of ourselves, we won't be able to take care of others. So we need to recognize in ourselves when it's time to rest, when we need time alone, when we need time with friends, time away from work, even time away from family for a short period of time. just to recharge those batteries. And as long as we have some good communication skills and we work through it with our family and our wives and kids, it's very important for men to take care of themselves.
Effective communication is vital in any role. Can you share strategies or principles you teach to improve communication within Christian families?
Well, I personally believe there's nothing special about communication strategies or principles within the Christian families. I mean, integrating prayer into your relationships might be one of the few differences as compared to the secular world. Teaching your kids to pray, praying with your spouse, as I mentioned earlier, all 24 character strengths can be found in the Bible, so they're not necessarily special to Christians. And I think that's an important point to highlight. Although we are called to separate ourselves from the world, it doesn't mean not to interact at all or not to use the tools or the techniques or knowledge based on that was found within the world. And because who's to say God didn't allow it to be found? I had a pastor one time say in a meeting, there were some issues we were dealing with, and I was talking about leadership in the church and the approach we should take, and just under his breath he says, that might be the way it's done in the secular world, and I was really annoyed at this. He was saying that maybe leadership isn't the same in church as it is in the secular world, which is to me nothing further from the truth on that. There are things in play in that situation, but leadership is leadership. At the end of the day, leadership is leadership. Whether it's done in the church or at the office, there are no special leadership skills to learn, spiritual leadership skills. And the whole separation of church and state business is just absolute nonsense. Our beliefs need to be integrated into our daily lives, and I'll leave it there.
As a coach, you're a role model for your clients. Could you share personal examples of how your faith and inner strengths have influenced your own roles as a husband, father, and provider?
In terms of faith, I'm probably more of an example of what not to do. And I'll leave it there for now. I've seen the difference prayer can make. When I first learned that I would be a father, for instance, I was quite nervous, quite afraid. I didn't know if I had what it took to be a good dad, so I prayed fervently about having wisdom to be a great father, and God answered those prayers. He showed me how He dealt with His children throughout the Old and New Testament, and God honored that prayer, and the fact that the effort that I put into it to read the Bible and Him showing me in different situations and different ways how He dealt with his children, and it was different. He wasn't the same way. It wasn't you do this and this happens. Like, He was very creative in how He dealt with His children, and I integrated that into how I parented as well. On the flip side, I didn't pray as fervently about being a husband or being a good provider. And I can honestly say that I've struggled more in those areas. I've learned that inner skills are applied contextually or situationally. In some situations, your inner strengths come out more naturally to the surface, whereas in other situations, for various reasons, that you may struggle bringing those same inner strengths out. Prayer is one way that I've used to unleash my inner strengths in parenting, and now I'm applying that same strategy to being a better husband and provider.
Resilience is key when facing life's challenges. How do you guide your clients in building and maintaining resilience, especially in their marriages and parenting?
Well, I start with encouragement. Much of the world is negative. It's overly competitive. It isn't focused on the well-being of people because it's so focused on results. Having someone in your corner cheering you on, wanting the best for you, and objectively looking at you and positively challenge you to grow is vital for a healthy mindset. I also dive deep into their why. So why are they doing what they're doing? What impact are they having on themselves and other people? When they face God in the next life, what will they say? I did what I could, or will they be facing the ground in sorrow and shame? So really digging into who they are and why they're here and what they're passionate about, just really helping them to understand their why. And I think another aspect to resilience is not taking things personally, and this is something that I've struggled with in the past, and if I'm being honest, still creeps up in my life once in a while. but it's a conscious choice to assume the best intentions from people, which is easier said than done. To recognize when someone may not be at their best and reacting that way, and to rely on your own self-worth as motivation to keep going. So I think those are some of the things that for me personally inside to help me maintain my resilience is inner strength to keep going and assume the best.
What methods or tools do you employ to hold your clients accountable for their personal growth and inner strength development?
The first step in accountability is creating a vision and a plan to get there. I've got a good background in project management, so I'm constantly working with clients to help them understand, help the team understand, help myself understand the vision, and then coming up with a plan to get there. So I support my clients by validating their plans, applying project management methodologies to reduce risk, manage issues during execution. I mean, at the end of the day, it's their plan. I just help them really think through it and apply my knowledge and experience to ensure success. In this sense, I guess I play the role of project manager and analyst. However, when execution begins, we have regular check-ins to discuss project progress. We chat about internal and external challenges, brainstorm some ways to get through those challenges and keep on track. And depending on how execution goes, we may get into as much detail as a weekly plan in order to build that confidence and overcome that baggage that tends to drag them down. And so, in that sense, I shift from from a project manager or analyst to more of a project board member, holding them to account for their own projects. So they become the project manager. I become the project board member, holding them to account to stick to their own plan. And in terms of specific tools, it could be anything. I mean, phone reminders, Google Calendar, spreadsheet, checklists, even texts. There's all sorts of ways to help people stay on track. So we find something that works for them and implement that.
Do you encourage your clients to seek support within Christian communities or build networks of like-minded individuals? How does this support benefit them?
I encourage my clients to build networks of like-minded individuals. Seeking connection through an established church could sometimes come with baggage related to some traditions or beliefs or specific behaviors that may interfere with the relationship, especially if they're new to the faith. So I really help them focus on finding like-minded individuals. And like-mindedness doesn't have to mean same personality or the same way of thinking about things. The like-minded people I encourage my clients to seek out are those individuals open to helping. They're not forcing their beliefs on my client, but challenging their way of thinking. In my view, guided experience is the best way to grow. And so finding people who want you to succeed, who have, similar worldview, but don't force their beliefs on you as you're walking your own path, but correcting where necessary and challenging where necessary, I think is an important aspect to support you as you grow and execute on your plan.
Looking ahead, what are your goals and aspirations for your coaching practice, and what lasting impact do you hope to have on the lives of Christian men you work with?
I am in the coaching business to cultivate inner strength. So that's the impact that I want to have on my clients' growth and confidence, improving my clients' value in the marketplace, helping to build the life they want, improving their marriage, improving their parenting skill. Those are all things that I want to, or how I want to impact my clients. And I do this in two primary ways. First, one-on-one coaching, which is by far my favorite service that I excel at, because I love building those deep connections with my clients and helping them grow in fun and creative ways. Secondly, I work with organizations to build a coaching solution that fits their needs in terms of format and content. So, going into the organization, understanding that they are unique. Every organization is unique, so we work together to help understand the issues, customize an approach, and then carry it out, which typically takes on the form of a combination of a workshop or workshops, and then personal coaching and some follow-up sessions.
As we conclude, what final message or advice would you like to share with our Christian male audience who may be husbands, fathers, or providers, and are seeking to enhance their inner strengths within the framework of their faith?
Christ is the ultimate coach. He's the one to go to for guidance. Yes, he chooses to work through other people sometimes, but you need to know Christ. He has your best interest in mind. He wants you to succeed in him. So pray, get to know him through the Bible, connect with like-minded individuals who will support and challenge you, and then just get to it.